Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Namah Pranavathaya Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Kataksha Kirana Chanta
Kataksha Kiranachanta
Naman Mohabdhaye Namaha
Naman Mohabdaye Namaha
Anantananda Krishnaya
Anantananda Krishnaya
Jagan Mangala Murtaye.
Jagan Mangala Murtaye.
We had a long gap this time. What page are we on?
46.
46.
Second paragraph, Swami.
Okay. So we were, I think, talking about Ananda Swarupa, right? We were talking about Kadachit Apriyam Naham. Just to recollect, we had dealt with Aham Asmi, Aham Bhami, and now the third aspect, I think we just started doing that, Ananda aspect, Ananda Swarupa aspect. I don't know how much we read, I don't recollect, but Ananda also, like everything else that we see, one is Vyavaharika Ananda, which is experiential Ananda, which will keep varying with time, will keep increasing or decreasing or completely becoming the other way around. The way we imagine these are all these three, Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Anandam, on a scale. There's a scale from extreme positive to zero to extreme negative. All this belongs to the Mithya Jagat. Anything which has Dvandva, anything which has gradation is only Mithya. And yet, when we say things like Aham Satyam, Aham Bhami, and or Aham Anandaha, we obviously don't mean this. And you say sentences like, I am Sukhi. I, the subject, is Sukhi, the object. But what Ananda we are trying to understand is neither Sukhi, neither subject nor object. It is what sustains both subject and object. Therefore, we say that there is no subject-object difference, because when you look at it from the Paramarthika perspective, there is no subject-object differentiation. Subject is sustained by this, object is sustained by this, and whatever action in between is also sustained by this. So we are looking at the Ananda Swarupa. That's why that's called Ananda, Swarupa Ananda, not experiential Ananda. Experiential Ananda can have gradation. Taittiriya Upanishad has a complete chapter on this, only on this. What can be defined as Ananda, and how 100 times the Ananda comes in the next, and the next, and the next, and the next, and so on. All of them are experiential Ananda. It doesn't matter what level it is. It's all gradation. What we are trying to understand when he says Sada Apriyam Naham, what is that Ananda that he is referring to? I think the Ananda section starts a little earlier than this. Here, 43, we already read this, no? Atma is Ananda. We read this. If anybody would like to recap very quickly what we read up to then.
I can try.
Yes, please do.
So, what Swamiji is trying to say is that the pleased self is the source of Ananda. Any object that we think is the source of Ananda is really just transferred love from the subject, and it's because of how it makes the subject feel essentially pleased. And this pleased self is something that we want to sustain. And why is it that the subject itself is the source of Ananda? Because there are only two things, it is said, either the Drig and Drishya, so the seer and the seen. But anything that's in the world is variable, so that cannot be the source of Ananda. So that leaves only the subject, the Atma itself. Ultimately, I think it's the pleased self that we're all after, or we just want that pleased self to be the one always present. And therefore, that is the real essence of you, or Atma.
Correct. Very, very good summary. What he said, how it's shown that any Vishaya cannot be the source of Ananda because it doesn't stay constant. Any source of Ananda can become a source of Ananda. Not only that, anything which we think is a source of Ananda, any Vishaya, to me it is Ananda, to somebody else it's not Ananda, it's Ananda. So clearly that cannot be the source. If that therefore Vishaya is not the source, the Vishayi must be the source. And that Vishayi, there I wanted to make that very clear distinction that subject is the source, the subject I is the source. There also, as long as you look at it from the Vyavaharik perspective, that I is Vyavaharika I. Even that cannot be, that also is changing. What is constant is only the I, the Atma. I don't know where we finished, I've read that.
Swamiji, I'll try to summarize the verse 2. Jagdish.
Yeah, we are on verse 2. We are on verse 2.
Verse 2, okay. Right. Swamiji has said that the central teaching statement is Aham Asmi Sada. I am always, I ever am. The statement is not experience to be produced, but a recognition of what is already evident and constant. Padartha Vichara, Aham, the self, Sakshi Chaitanyam, witness consciousness, not the body-mind complex. Asmi, am, exist, indicates Siddha Sattva, already established existence. Sada, always, in all three states of experience, waking, dream, and deep sleep. Immediate meaning is I am always existent. Why Asmi is crucial, Swamiji's emphasis. Asmi does not indicate an action or becoming. It reveals a fact that does not depend on time, condition, or experience. Existence is not something the self gains. It is the self per se. The self is not proved by any pramana. It is self-evident. Swata Siddha. Meaning of Sada, always, Jagrat, I am. Swapna, I am. In Sushupti, also I am. Absence of objects, not absence of existence. Body, mind, and roles come and go, but existence, consciousness never comes or goes. Connection with the verse 2 of Advaita Makaranda. Ajnanat eva samsare jivatvam parikalpayate. Jivahood. Doer, enjoyer, limited individual is imagined due to ignorance. The constant, within quotes, I am, is mistakenly mixed with body-mind attributes. Tattva jnanat tad evasya nivrittihi syanna samchayaha. By knowing the truth, I am always, the imagined jivahood resolves. Nothing new is produced, ignorance alone is removed. Adhyasa Bhashya, connection, Shankara. Smriti Rupaha, Paratra, Purva Drishtava Avabhasaha. Attributes of the body, mortality, limitation are superimposed on the self. The self's existence is superimposed on the body. Aham Asmi Sada breaks this mutual superimposition. The Tatparyam is, I do not become, but I am.
Yeah.
I do not perish, I am. I am not bound, I am. Liberation is not an event in the time, but a clear, doubt-free recognition of one's always free nature. Swamiji's teaching essence is, you are not trying to become free. You are only understanding that you have never been bound. Thus, Aham Asmi Sada is Nitya Mukta Swarupa Bodha. Manana, contemplative cues are, when thoughts change, I am. When roles drop, I am. When nothing is experienced, I am. Let the mind resolve into this recognition. The final vision of verse 2 removes the notion of bondage. Aham Asmi Sada establishes unchanging existence consciousness. This is Advaita Vedanta in its purest teaching form. Aham Asmi Sada, structured teaching note. Kaivalya Badhye Samarpitam, teacher ready, Manana friendly, Shankara Bhashya Sangatam. Yadi Bhavan, that's about 12. Upanishadic parallels with exact citation we can bring later. So the ultimate thing is the Siddha Vastu, nothing to be found newly. You'll have to remove all the Avarna and the Vikshepa and then identify yourself or recognize that you have always been free and you are that Atma. Namaskara.
Very good. The other difference between the Ananda, which is Swarupa Ananda, and Ananda we see in this Jagat, is that any experiential Ananda has a starting point. It comes at a point.
It's got an ending
at
point.
another point. Whereas Swarupa Ananda, one point that he was emphasizing on is period. That Swarupa Ananda is same as Asti. There's nothing else. So in this understanding of Ananda, what Swamiji is trying to develop here, I think, is that if the Ananda is not coming from any Vishaya, it only means that that Vishaya, whatever the object is, evoke the pleased self in me. But it can also take it away. The same object need not really continue to evoke the pleased self in me. The thing I like, I may not like tomorrow because it does not evoke the pleased self in me. So if you combine these and understand, then there's only one source of Ananda that is possible, that is, I don't know, eternal, always, whatever. Is the source is Atma. And that is always, that is ever. So therefore, the question of apriyam kadachit nasti. Nasmi. So he is trying to bring it because he used the word, while he said, aham asmi, aham bhami, but he says, kadachit apriyam naham. I'm never an apriya. So I'm always priya before, after, wherever. There's no question of time also. You were saying something, Anand?
Swamiji, just a small question. So when we say the object is not the source of Ananda, we say that because it gives me happiness at one point in time and at another point in time it may not give me the happiness, or
Correct.
the object that gives me happiness may not give happiness to someone else. But
Correct.
can we say that it is like it is a source of ananda but for a limited time in limited, like with limited conditions?
It
Can we
is the
still say
source of experiential ananda only. It is the source of experiential ananda. What is experience ananda? It is also only reflection of your absolute ananda. It is a source of experiential ananda. Why? Because it evokes the peace in you, peace self in you. By
can
itself, it is not the source.
any
Because if it is
like
so,
we
see,
can,
if it is okay, if it is time dependent, space dependent, person dependent source, it's hardly a source then. Isn't it?
why
I Jaya shaking his head.
Swami, so
No.
Jayaji,
No. I was just, I started with shaking the head because it was a no to his question that the
Okay.
object cannot be the source of
Cannot be
Ananda.
the source.
so Swamiji, any ananda itself is only understood in experiential terms, right, Swamiji? So when we say source of ananda, it is only meant as an experiential ananda, right, Swamiji? But an object, like when we say object is not my source of ananda, it is only because we are saying it is changing in time, or it is not giving happiness to another person. But
Okay, reword that. If it is a source of ananda, it should always give you ananda.
why, Swamiji? Like for
If it is a source
why?
of light, if fire is a source of light, fire should always give you light or heat. If fire had inherent property of heat, which is what we agree, then you can't have a cold fire.
Okay, Swamiji. If something is a
Yeah.
source, then it always has to be a source.
That only an inherent property. That ananda you see on that is only reflected. Your only ananda is the Swarupananda. So it looks like it is what called lesha. Yes, Divyansh.
Swamiji, one more question. Like, can we, like, in all the context, can we replace the Ananda with Ananta?
It is ananda. Only in the Swarupananda.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this ananda, in fact, has, the ananda that we experience ananda has moda, pramoda, what is that?
Priyam,
Different
Moda,
levels.
Pramoda.
It's a
Priyam,
different
Moda,
levels.
Pramoda.
So that anything which has these kind of levels, which is a gradation, which has a dvandva, all belong to the Jagat.
Swamiji?
Swamiji, just to add on,
Sure.
that might help Anand's question. See, all the worldly happiness, like Swamiji sometime mentioned, we like something. So that like is already there in our mind, right? Like raga dveshas. I like certain things, right? It is, don't take it as literally the object. It is different properties. It is different properties we like or we dislike. So when we see an object, what is actually happening is the mind will correlate and find similarities. So let's say you like some 10 qualities and this object has got 3 of those. That 3 will give you a sense of completeness or happiness. So that is how the mind works. So mind is constantly matching with your likes and dislikes. And if it finds matches, depending on how many matches or whatever, that intensity of happiness will vary. So finally, it is only a thought in the mind. So this is vritti janya. So this worldly happiness is vritti janya. And because it is vritti janya, it is transient. When the vritti is formed, you feel happy. Immediately another vritti comes because we are constantly interacting with the world. So that is why it is always transient. So the happiness was also all created in your mind only. The object has got nothing to do with being a source of happiness. There were properties of the object that you already had a raga for it, a like for
But
it.
still, that property belongs to that object only.
No, no, you are superimposing, right? All this.
If the property belongs to that object should give Ananda equally to the other person also, no? If
Need
the
not be,
object
because
is
it is
having
based
property
on
of
my likes and dislikes. So I have
exactly,
Correct.
developed likes and dislikes,
That
exactly.
is what
We are coming to
Ratnam is
that point
telling.
only.
That is
That's
exactly
exactly
the
what.
point is telling.
Uh,
You like something, you like sweet. So when you see gulab jamun, you like it. Ratnam doesn't like sweet. So it is not going to give him happiness.
So can I say it
yes.
is the source of my happiness alone then?
No.
Correct. But your happiness was dependent on your vasana that you like sweet.
Yes,
Whereas
yes.
for Ratnam, it is a dukkha because he doesn't like sweet. It was a dvesha for him.
But for me personally, can I say then that gulab jamun is the source of my happiness?
No, 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 no. You are not still getting the point. I explained to you how this happiness comes. It is because of the raga in your mind. But for that raga in your mind, this object is not going to give you happiness. Do you understand that or not?
Mm-hmm.
So this raga is this one, right? And that raga gave you happiness because the underlying truth, which is ananda, is reflected in that vritti. The ananda, which is the ultimate ananda, is reflected in the mind. Mind is a reflecting medium. So when ananda is reflected in the mind, in the vritti, you get the transient sense of completeness, purnatvam. That sense of completeness is called happiness.
So can we say then the object is neither source of happiness nor source of dukkha or sorrow also?
Absolutely.
Correct.
Yeah, correct.
Dukkha and happiness are two of the
All
same
in the
end of the same
mind.
thing.
All in your mind. It is not. It is subjective. It is not objective.
You wanted to add something to it, Divyansh, to the discussion.
Swamiji, like instead of using the word happiness, what Jayaji also said that we can say that incompleteness and completeness. Because if you say that the happiness, like I am the source of the happiness from that object that I'm seeing it, the happiness in the object, I am the source of that happiness. Same, the person will say that Anananda also I am the source. So we can say Atma is the source of Anananda as well, say equally. But
Correct.
that is not the point
Both Ananda and Ananda
in the
are,
mind.
are sustained by the Atma only, are brought in by the Atma, sustained by the Atma, disappears into the Atma.
Yes.
Atma is the only source. That is why it is not, it's like I said, the moment you say Dvandva, it doesn't belong to us.
Yes,
Some-
in that if we say that the fullness and incompleteness. So in that when we say the Priya Moda and Pramoda, like when we actually get that object, then the seeking is like lost for some moment. We think that we are full, like we experience the fullness, and in that's this happiness automatically like shines in us, and then again we start
temporary
seeking other things.
for that period of time, na. That
Yeah, for
pramada
that
also is
period of
only
time.
limited in. It's limited to time, space, and object, na.
Yes, yes.
And the
But
moment I think, Swamiji, I think when we say Satchidananda or Ananta, the moment you know that you're full, where is the question of you not becoming Anananda? The entire question is on the
That is why you have to
fullness.
be very careful. Anand, Anananda belongs to
for the
Body.
Vyapakya.
mind.
Body, mind, sense complex.
There is nothing to do with you,
Atma.
with Atma.
Yeah, Adhyasa,
Unfortunately,
no?
we use the same word. This is in what I believe one of the source of confusion. Whether you say
Yes.
jnanam is jnanam and ajnanam. This jnanam we're talking about is what Bhashyakara calls nyapti. Similarly, that ananda and anananda, the source of which you can call it some other name. The best they can do is Swarupananda. It is the nature of that Pradhyatma.
Hmm.
Okay. So, nice opening. I like it. Who will start reading today?
I'll start reading Swamiji because no one, long
Yeah,
time I didn't read.
I should do that. But I would suggest you start reading from maybe the last two lines of the previous paragraph. So continuity will be maintained.
Yeah. Therefore, all love is a transferred love, the love of that pleased person. It is all transferred to an object or a situation. Therefore, Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati. The most beloved is the pleased self.
What a
In
beautiful
the
sentence. Yagyavalkya is advising Maitreyi.
in the pleased self, is there an ahankara? That is what we have to analyze. In the pleased self, is there an ahankara really? Ahankara means the one who has agenda. Ahankara is ego, the isolated ego, the individual ego with its own characteristics and who has his own agenda. What things should be there? What should not be there? His ragadveshas, plans and scheming, hurt and guilt, etc. So this ahankara is he there in that pleased self whom you like? If he is there, then of course you should satisfy that fellow. Understand? If that ego is present when you are really enjoying something, then that ego should be pleased after all. But in fact, every time this ego tries to get himself pleased, he is the casualty. I am talking about this demanding ego. This is the one who manipulates the whole situation so that he can be happy. Even though he manipulates the whole situation in such a nice way so that he can relax and be happy, in the process, he is a loser. He is gone when you are pleased. That ego gives way to the pleased self, which is Satchit. Every time that wanting ego stands as the counterpart of the Vishaya, the object, then there is the divided Bhumi. That is called Samsara Bhumi. What is this Bhumi suddenly coming, Swamiji? Bhumi?
I think here is only saying samsara, another,
Samsara Sagara is similar to Samsara.
Sagar alla, Prapancham.
Oh, okay. It's called Samsara Bhumi. This Drugdrishya Bhumi remains as wanted only. Not simply Drugdrishya, but as wanted Bhumi. But when you are pleased, that ego manifesting as wanted Bhumi goes away, disappears. Really, the fellow who organized the whole thing is not there at all in a happy moment. When he comes again, he complains, I'm unhappy. He does not go away totally. He comes back and is again wanting because he can't like himself. And that is because he is wanting. So naturally, he comes back and struggles to fulfill his agenda. I think this full explanation is for the Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Piriyam Bhavati.
Yeah, you talk about the ego, the Ahankara, and what happens because Ahankara is the one who is just looking around saying, I want something pleasing.
And every time the pleased self comes, the wanting ego resolves. It is not there at all. If he is there, at least we can nourish that fellow. You can't nourish this ego because he is not there when I get some nourishment. When that nourishment is over, he comes back. And what can we do with this guy? It is all Maya. Why I'm telling this is because in the resolution of this wanted division is the experience of your being happy. That happy person, that pleased self, where the wanted division is not there, that is the deepest self. The innermost self is Ananda, the Bhoktra Swarupa. Bhoktra Swarupa. But it is na Bhokta, na Swami. Why is the
No,
innermost
Bhokta
self is
Swarupa.
Ananda, the
No,
Bhokta
not a
Swarupa.
Bhokta. He's not saying Bhokta, he's saying Bhokta Swarupa. Just like Ananda Swarupa, the very nature of any enjoyment is this only.
But the
Swamiji,
Atma
Bhumi means
is
this Adhishtanam, no? Bhumi refers to Adhishtanam.
Adhishtanam. It is like saying that any experience is experience, the experienced and the experiencer,
experiencer.
all are nothing but For want of a better word, you say that the source of experience, the adhara for experience. So whether it's bhokta, karta, whatever it is, bhokta exists because of what?
But here the innermost self is Ananda, the Bhoktra Swarupa. It cannot be Bhoktra Swarupa. That is my
Swarupa.
question, Swami.
Swarupa only. Bhokta Swarupa is this only. Ananda Swarupa is also this only. Ananda Swarupa is also this only.
Bhoktru Swarupa means source of experience.
Everything, there is only Atma. When you use the word Swarupa, where does the Bhokta come from? There is no such thing as a Bhokta. But in the Jagat, we have Bhokta. The Adhisthana for that is Bhokta Swarupa. And that is, all these words you use, only one Ekameva Aditya Vastu. You call it Ananda, you call it Vastu, you call
Ananta,
it
Chit.
anything.
That is why Bhokta Anandamaya Vijnanamaya Atma makes way for Anandamaya Atma. With reference to Vijnanamaya Antakarana, there is Kartatvam. Kartatvam is meant for bringing out the Bhokta. Karta and Kriya are meant for Bhoga. And the same Karta turns into a Bhokta. The Bhokta is the innermost because Karta is there for getting the Bhokta out. Therefore, the Karta dissolves and turns into a Bhokta. That Bhoktra Swarupa is the innermost self. Now, still, this innermost self is not referring to the Sachidananda Atma.
No. In the Panchakosha, what is the innermost we say? Anandamaya Kosha.
Anandamaya Kosha.
That is what he is referring to.
Yeah. Now I got it. That innermost self is a pleased self. That pleased self is all that pleased self I always loves to be. Therefore, kadachit aham priyaha. I, the pleased self, never become an object of dislike.
See, this word they use, no, na apriyaha. If you look at our own lives, at different points, there's a niece who used to say, anytime somebody said or did something which she didn't like, she will say, I'll drop you from my list. You know, a very cute little girl. So I'll drop you from the list. We all have some kind of a list. Things I like. It could be anything.
Yeah.
But sometimes we drop that from the list somewhere down below. It was somewhere in the top of the list, gone down below. In fact, Swami Paramarthananda in one talk, I remember he said that even God is on your this list.
Very true.
And even God can drop off. Because you have asked so many things from God, God didn't give you.
So you
What
drop
kind
him
of
off.
God is he? He can also drop off. So this,
Yeah.
what I like, what I don't like, is your list.
Yeah.
And that list, entire list of what I like, what I am indifferent to, what I don't like at all, they're all sustained only by the Ananda Swarupa.
Okay. An objection is raised here. Swamiji, you cannot say that. Any object of like you want to exist. You want that object to continue. That is because it is a source of happiness. And what is the object that you want always to be? It is me, is your answer. How can you say that, Swamiji? There is a fellow who wants to commit suicide. He doesn't want himself to be. Therefore, aham becomes apriyaha. If kadachit na aham apriyaha, if I always love myself to be, then the object of love, me, must be the source of happiness. Since you want to be all the time, you love yourself the most. You can give up everything to save yourself, and therefore, you are the one who is most loved by you, and therefore, you are the source of happiness. If this is the argument, we can argue against it, saying that there is a fellow who hates himself. There is self hatred, and he is ready to commit suicide also. So, how can you say Atma is the most beloved object? Let us examine this contention. Is the dvesha you have with reference to the happy you or the unhappy you? The pleased you or the displeased you? Of course, with reference to the displeased you. Now, the displeased you, is it you? If that is you, inherently, you should never get negated. And it gets negated. Where? In sleep, it gets negated. In a moment of joy, it is resolved. The displeased you is gone. Therefore, how can you say the displeased you is you? That pleased you is you because the other one comes and goes. One who comes and goes cannot be you. Why not the other way around?
This argument against Yajnavalkya's statement that one loves oneself only, everything you love is only for one's own sake. That kind of an argument, against that, the Purvapakshi is saying, what about people who want to commit suicide?
Yeah.
They obviously don't like themselves. So there the thing to analyze a little bit, what pushes him to commit suicide? Something is there in his life, in this Jagat, which he is displeased with. Suppose I tell him, fine, whatever it is that displeases you. For example, you've been fired from your job, I want to go and kill yourself. I will tell you, I'll give you another job which is even better. Do you still want to go and commit suicide? Suppose one fellow says, no, I've got an incurable disease. I don't want to live. I want to die. That disease belongs to the body. Suppose there's a new technology, new medical which has come, which can clear that. Will you still want to commit suicide? Where is the source? It is not that he hates himself. He hates that object. Like you say, you get like something because it causes the pleased self in you. Like that, the displeased self in you creates. The object is the cause.
Yeah, the object is the cause. You are not the cause.
The dvesha you have with reference to the happy you or the unhappy you, the pleased you or the displeased you, of course with reference to the displeased you. So what causes the displeased you? Is that you? Is the displeased you? No. If it is you, inherently you should never get it negated. But that doesn't happen. Many times you are a pleased self. Therefore, in a moment of joy, it's resolved. The displeased you is gone. Therefore, how can you say the displeased you is you? You can't just disappear suddenly, I'm not there at all. That pleased you is you because the other one comes and goes. One who comes and goes cannot be. Now, very obviously, he's going to take the next step. Even pleased self comes and goes. The pleased self arises on some conditions and then disappears. I'm sure he's going to follow it up in the next paragraph. In the meanwhile, Divyansh has a point.
Swamiji, can we replace the pleased you with complete you? Is it okay?
Sorry?
Can we
Yeah,
replace?
absolutely. The pleased you is the complete you. That's what Jayaji was saying, no? See, what happens in that instant when your pleased you is evoked, you lose the distinction between subject-object. There is no subject-object left. Then you identify with not the subject-object, don't identify, you identify with what is the cause of all of that, what is the source of all of that. You're right. You can make a statement like that if you think about it and make the statement with understanding. Yes, definitely.
Then for the same question, if I replace that why you're taking that you to be the pleased you, why not the displeased you?
Correct. That's what is going to come here.
Yeah. Why not the other way around? The pleased me comes and goes. The displeased me is always there. If the displeased you is your Swarupa, the displeasure is your nature, you will never be displeased because you will enjoy being displeased. Oh,
this is what is circular argument, no? If somebody comes and tells you, I'm unhappy because I want to be unhappy. No, you can't. That is not an argument that can work because If you want to be unhappy and you are unhappy, you should be happy because you got what you want. So that circular argument won't work.
Yeah. Why? Because you will be at home with yourself being displeased. Then why would you say I'm displeased? That is my Swarupa and I'm happy being displeased. And therefore, it is always the pleased you that is you. That is the real Bhokta. The Bhokta Swarupa is Satchidananda Atma. The argument of the author is I do not become an object of hatred at any time, and therefore I must be the source of Ananda. Kadachit na aham apriyaha iti. I converted it into something a little bit different to make it clearer. I say that I never want to be the displeased self. Therefore, I must be the pleased self. That is my argument. I do not want to be the displeased self because that is not my nature. I want to be the pleased self. Then, having been as a pleased self, I do not want to be away from being the pleased self. I don't want to cease to be the pleased self. What does that mean? That is my Swarupa. That is the argument here. Kadachit na ahama priyaha. Aham Shabdhartha. Atma never becomes apriya. It is always priyaha, the most beloved. That is pointed out by Yagnavalkya, Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati. It is for your own sake alone that any object becomes an object of love. Therefore, the object of love is only yourself after all.
In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Yajnavalkya goes on and on. It is only for you that you love your husband. It is only for you that you love your wife. It is for you only that you love your son. It goes on and on. The whole paragraph is only that.
Therefore, the object of love is only yourself after all, the self which is pleased. We have to say that. Otherwise, the object of hatred is also is you. The hated you is not you, really speaking. The pleased self is the object of your love, which obtains even in sleep. That is why you love sleep. These are the various hetus they give to prove that Atma is the source of Ananda. The object of love is only yourself because Atma is free from any division. It is the whole. Atma being whole, Gnata Gnana Pratiti is not a
Iti.
division. Pratiti, yeah. Is not a division. Doesn't establish division. It only establishes Nata Gnanam. Knower known establishes knower known. That's all. It doesn't establish duality. It establishes only the pratiti, the experience of being knower known, like in a dream. It does not establish duality at all. If someone says that because there is a knower known, therefore duality is real, then that therefore is the problem. The knower known establishes the knower known experience, nothing more. Therefore, that wholeness is alone is what you experience. Even if a Vishaya Anubhava also, even in a Vishaya Anubhava also, there is a subject object relationship, like the music and you. The music is the object, and you are the pleased person, the Vishayi, the subject. The music is on. That means the knower known division is there. That means that pratiti, that experience is there, then and the ananda also is there. Therefore, it is clear that the knower known does not really create a division disturbing the person's wholeness. This is proved in music. In music, that you love, of course. You should be the pleased self there. Therefore, the pleased self is manifest only in the form of knower known wholeness. What else can you say? That wholeness is you. That wholeness you love. That is Atma. That is Satchit. And that is Ananda. That wholeness is the Swarupa of Ananda, which is what we call limitlessness, which is what we call Advaitam.
We also call it Ananta. Somebody is asking just
Ananta.
now.
Yeah. Divyansh was asking. Ananda cannot be replaced with Ananta.
Hmm.
Therefore, Advaye Anandaha. Dvaitam does not create any Ananda. It only creates what they call pangs. So separation creates pangs, and therefore, if the object that you love is away from you, it creates pangs and heartburns. What creates Ananda is only Advayam, non-dual. Therefore, Kadachit na aham priyaha, I do not become at any time an object of hatred. Even a man who wants to commit suicide wants to be happy. It's not that he wants to commit suicide. If I ask him what is the cause, and if that cause is removed, he wants to be only. But he does not want to be displeased self. And even the object that he hates, why does he hate an object in this world? Because that object in the world that he hates makes him displeased. Here again, his commitment is only to the pleased self, and that object displeases him. Asti bhati priyam rupam nama nama chetyamsa panchakam. Adyatra.
Amsa Pamshakam. 5 things.
Yeah,
Asti
yeah.
Bhakti Priyam Rupam Nama
Rupam nama.
Chet.
Cheta. Amsha panchakam. Adyatrayam Brahma Rupam Jagat Rupam Tato Dvayam.
So, we take Anatma, Atma division in Dridasya Viveka, Asti, Bhati and Priyam, and Rupam and Nama, Rama and Rupa. So, he says the first three, Adyatrayam are Satyam. They
Asti
are
Bhati Priyam.
Atma, Atma Swarupa. And the latter two,
Jagat
Rupam,
Rupam.
Brahma Rupam, Jagat Rupam, Tato Dvayam. The following two are Anatma.
Here the words Asti Bhati and Priyam stand for is consciousness and love respectively. Is consciousness and love respectively. The word love has to go away. It is an active word because it is in the terms of relationship love. There is no love without you relating. It is an emotion related to an object. That active form of Ananda, fullness, that active part of it, if you remove, then the unrelated love is only Ananda. That is what we call Ananda, fullness. And here that is pointed out. Ananda is an experiential word and it is the Lakshana for the fullness alone, for the absence of this wanted division. In fact, any form of duality is not there really. Even though the knower known duality may be there, that is only pratiti. It doesn't cause any duality at all. That fullness alone is the Ananda which everyone wants to be. Nobody can settle for anything less. And nobody settles for anything less. Therefore, everybody is looking for that non dual Ananda all the time. Where is that Ananda? Advaya Ananda. And Advayam is the Swarupa. Therefore, Ataha Siddham. Therefore, it is Siddham Satchid Ananda Lakshanam Brahma Aham Asmi Iti. Atha Siddham. Kasmat Siddham Sada Aham Asmi Sada Aham Bhami Kadachit Na Aham Priyaha. Ataha Siddham Aham Brahma Satchidananda Lakshanam. Brahmaiva Aham Satchidananda Lakshanam is Shastra Prapta. By Mananam, we are establishing that vision, assimilating that vision by negating the thinking that how can that be? When you ask the question, how can that be? You don't see how it can be. How can that be is called Prameya Gata Sandeha, a doubt centered on what is to be known. A doubt is enough. He need not give a Pura Paksha. There is no necessity for a Pura Paksha. How can that be is good enough. Because there is something that is denying you the vision of the Shastra, Brahmaiva Aham Sachidananda Lakshanam. So then we give a hetu to show this is how it can be. When I say this is how it can be, then if there is any doubt, anything that was lacking, anything blocking comprehensions of the meaning, if there is anything that is standing as an obstacle, that is to be taken care of. This process of removing doubts is called Mananam.
As I told you, this is the Manana Grantha. So you'll find the further verses of this one is showing the Aikyam in the Swarupam. Atma Anatma Aikyam, Jiva Brahma Aikyam. This because both have the same Swarupam, Satchidananda, and therefore he is trying to prove that Aham Asmi, that is Sat, Aham Bhami, it is Chit, and Kadachit Apriyam Naham is Ananda or Ananta. So that the Swarupa being identical, they are identical. That Aikyam is proved. Then you will find that some more questions are raised, some more discussions come up in this. Then you will also raise and talk about things like Nityatvam. Okay, I prove only that it is time bound. No, it has got to be Nityam. And how both are Nityam and how you can therefore see the Aikyam in the terms of Nityam. How it is all pervading. These are all words we use every time when we talk about
Atma.
how they are the same. If you look at it from any perspective, they are the same. So here in this next verse, he's talking about a doubt that is being raised, which will be addressed. Where is the verse itself?
Verse.
I don't have too much time. In the meanwhile, I think Divyansh has a point to make.
Page 57 is the verse, Swamiji.
Yeah, page
Yeah.
57%.
I saw that.
Swamiji, my question is on this page 54 only. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sixth last line. So,
Mhm.
Swami, so the person is asking how it can be because his experience says otherwise, right? And he's saying that how Advayam can be. And then Swamiji says, this is how it can be. So is it like Swamiji will like give a Drishtanta for this?
Yes, he will. The next this thing you will see. Next, there will be discussions on this. On the objection, doubt that somebody is raising, not objection really, doubt somebody is raising, there'll be more clarity on that in the next verse.
So, like instead of saying this, like this is how it can be, like it would be better if we say this is how it is. Because if you are saying that, okay, I'll give you how it can be, it can be
Where is the
otherwise
sentence?
also, right?
Where the sentence? I'm looking for the sentence.
Sixth last line, when I say this is how it can be.
When I say this is how it can be, then there's a doubt, anything that was lacking, anything blocking comprehension of the meaning, if there's anything that is standing as an obstacle, that is being taken care of. That is being taken care of further. That is in quotes. If you see that, when I say this is how it can be, and there's a doubt raised, that how doubt is being addressed and being addressed in the further verses.
No, I think the question, how can that be? To that, it is the answer. This is how it can be, right?
No. He
Okay,
says this is how it can be, and that is proved in the further verses. That's what you read further, no? If there's anything that is standing in the obstacle, because there are obstacles, that is what he's saying, that is taken care of, that being taken care of. Process of being removing the doubt is called mananam. We'll see. You read this, then if you still have the doubt, we'll go back. And, I don't want to go into hair-splitting discussion on particular words because they're also editing issues. These are all words, communication only. We'll go back to this. If you find that after reading the next one, you still have the question, we'll go back to this. Okay? We can just read the verse, Ratnamji, and then we'll mind.
Shall I read the verse itself or shall I read this page? Verse 3
I
page.
think you should read the previous page also.
I'm reading. We'll stop at the verse itself.
Other verse, yeah.
Being Mananatmaka Shastra, a doubt is raised here, so it can be resolved. Shastra Pratipaditam Brahma is Satyam Gnanam Anantam. Shastrena, again, it is said to be Sarvagnam, Sarvakaranam, meaning it is all knowing and the cause for everything. How can that Sarvagnam, Sarvakaranam, Brahma, what we call Tat Padartha be me, this Aham Padartha I, because I am not Sarvagna and I am not Sarva Karanam either. Do you understand where the problem is? Aham is the problem because Aham is understood only in this form Alpagna and Alpashaktiman. It is not the Karana for everything. In fact, I am someone who is subject to all the Karanas, all the causes and effects, all the Devatas, all the elements. I am subject to all the forces. I, as a person, as an individual, I am subject to the forces that are there. Therefore, if I want to get up, sometimes I cannot get up, and if I want to fly, I cannot do that. The birds are able to do that, but I cannot do that. But birds cannot write a letter as we do. This is how things are. Therefore, I am a Alpa Shaktiman because I have some Shakti, but that is Alpa Shakti. And I am Alpagnaha. I am subject to the laws which are created by Sarva Karanam Brahma. Brahma is Sarvagnam Sarvakaranam, the all knowing being which is the cause for everything, the Nimitta Karanam Ishvara. How can I be that Ishvara being what I am? There is a doubt because in Ishvara is the whole Jagat. He is not only the Nimitta Karana but also Upadana Karanam. This is what Shastra presents. Brahmanaha Anyat Kinchit Na Vidyate. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Everything is He means that everything is not separate, non-separate from Him. To say that everything is non-separate from Brahman, that Brahman is both the maker and material, Sarvagnam and Sarvakaranam. How can an individual jiva be Sarvagna and Sarvakaranam? When I do not even know my own body properly, Mama Sarvagnatvam Katham, and also Sarvakaranatvam for me, how can it be? It is not possible. How can I equate myself to Sarvakaranam, that which is the cause of everything, that all knowing Brahman? Even though it is nice to equate, it is not possible. That Brahman, in whom the whole Jagat has its being, how can that Brahman be me? Is the question. It is answered now.
Looks like a very fundamental question, no?
Yeah.
But there will be in the verse and in the analysis, there will be answer to this, which we can look at in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om